Commander Zixathala of the Galactic Historical Archive stood before the massive quantum storage banks, her 6 arms trembling as she initiated the most controversial deletion in galactic history. The holographic display flickered, showing a single word that had struck terror into the hearts of civilizations across 17 sectors: humanity. "Are you certain about this?" asked her assistant Krell, his crystalline form refracting the amber warning lights that bathed the archive chamber. Zixathala's primary eyes never left the display. The council was unanimous. Every mention, every record, every fragment of data regarding this species must be purged, for the sake of galactic peace. 3 cycles had passed since the war's end, yet the mere whisper of that name still caused panic in starports from the Andromeda Spiral to the Outer Rim territories. Zixathala had been present during the initial contact protocols, had witnessed firsthand why an entire galactic civilization now sought to forget that humanity had ever existed. The humans had arrived in the most unremarkable fashion possible, a single primitive vessel that barely registered on their sensors. The ship looked like it had been assembled from scrap metal and held together by sheer willpower. When the YAO, Confederation's first contact team, boarded, they found creatures that stood upright on 2 legs, possessed only 2 eyes, and communicated through crude vocal vibrations. Primitive bipeds, the xenobiologist had reported. Recent space travelers, possibly dangerous due to their warrior-like appearance but technologically inferior, recommend standard integration protocols. How catastrophically wrong they had been. The first sign of humanity's true nature emerged during the Rigel incident. A human merchant vessel, carrying nothing more threatening than agricultural supplies, encountered a Skarn raiding party. The Skarn, feared throughout 3 sectors for their brutality, had destroyed countless ships without ever facing meaningful resistance. But humans, it turned out, didn't simply surrender. Captain Sarah Chen, commanding a ship with minimal weapons, and a crew of 12 farmers had somehow managed to disable 3 Skarn warships and capture their entire crew. When questioned about her tactics, she simply shrugged and said, "We improvised." The word improvisation soon became synonymous with terror in military academies across the galaxy. During the Proxima Siege, when the entire Confederation fleet retreated in the face of overwhelming hegemony forces, a single human destroyer remained. Captain Marcus Rodriguez, outgunned 1,000 to 1, had allegedly smiled as he activated what humans called Plan B. No one knew what Plan B was because there were no survivors from the hegemony fleet to explain it. The war had escalated beyond all projections. The Galactic Council had prepared for a conventional conflict. Fleets meeting in space, orderly battle lines, predictable tactics refined over millennia of warfare. Instead, they found themselves facing an enemy that seemed to operate on pure chaos theory. Human ships appeared where sensors indicated empty space. Their soldiers survived in conditions that should have killed them instantly. Most disturbing of all, they seemed to grow stronger and more creative the more desperate their situation became. Humans possess a concept they call spite, Zixathala had reported to the War Council. Our xenopsychologists believe it to be their most dangerous weapon. The turning point came during the Battle of Kepler Station. The humans, completely surrounded and facing extinction, had done something that violated every known law of physics and common sense. They had weaponized their own space station. Commander Elena Vasquez had somehow converted the entire facility into a kinetic projectile and launched it directly at the enemy command ship. The transmission that followed became legendary among those few who survived to hear it. "This is Commander Vasquez to all hegemony forces. We are out of ammunition, out of options, and frankly out of patience. Consider this our resignation letter." The explosion was visible from 3 star systems away. After that, the war had ended not through surrender or negotiation, but through what humans called creative differences. Every enemy fleet that encountered human forces discovered that these bipedal creatures had an infinite capacity for turning any object, concept, or physical law into a weapon. The Confederation's xenobiologists had finally understood their critical error. Humans weren't just another spacefaring species. They were the universe's apex improvisers, survivors who had evolved on a planet that seemed dedicated to killing them in increasingly creative ways. Where other species had developed specialized organs or advanced technology, humans had developed something far more dangerous: the ability to make something out of nothing when their backs were against the wall. The galaxy has spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of warfare, General Korath had explained to the Council. Humans spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of not dying when everything wants to kill them. We never stood a chance. Now, as Zixathala prepared to execute the deletion protocol, she wondered if they were making another critical error. The humans had departed as mysteriously as they had arrived, claiming they had places to be and things to fix. They left behind only empty settlements and the lingering suspicion that somewhere out there, they were probably turning some impossible situation into an opportunity. "Deletion complete," Krell announced. "All records of human involvement in the war have been purged." Zixathala nodded, though she couldn't shake the feeling that forgetting humanity's existence wouldn't make them any less dangerous. After all, humans had a talent for appearing exactly when and where they were least expected. In the deepest archives, one file remained marked only with a simple notation: "Never underestimate a species that considers impossible to be a suggestion rather than a limitation." The name was gone, but the lesson remained. Somewhere in the vast galaxy, impossibility was just another word for Tuesday.